He called her his best friend, but not his lover. And that's exactly why he's in a dead bedroom. We're going live. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
It's hump day again, folks. Let's see if we can make it through this episode without a bogus live strike on TikTok here. Guys, my interview on the Anonymous Andrew podcast dropped this morning. After this, go check it out. I'll drop a link in the chat here. Andrew joined Beer Club right after this interview. So that's awesome. Please go show him some support. It was a pretty good interview. Apparently, my podcast had some influence on him. So that's cool. So guys, I saw this post on Reddit the other day. Let me bring this up here. I don't have it handy. Let's see if I can bring it up here on the screen here. Let's share my screen. We want this one, the total apathy one. Yeah, let's bring it there. There we go. Okay, so I saw this post. This is in a dead bedroom forum. It's the post title is called Total Resolute Apathy. And he goes, I'm just going to read it to you real quick. He says, total resolute apathy. That's currently how I feel towards my significant other currently. She made an appointment to get her coil removed for February half term, a month after her New Year's revelation. If you go and look at the New Year's revelation link, let me drop this in the chat here too for you guys. If you go and look at that, basically around New Year's, she just basically was straight up with him and was like, hey, I don't want to sleep with you anymore. They've been married for so long. And she's just like, yeah, I'm just not into it. You're just not blowing my skirt up, I guess. So anyway, she was supposed to get this coil removed in February, a month after the New Year's revelation to him. And guess what? A week of abstinence is a prerequisite before the procedure. No problem there, I thought. It's not like we're getting any anyway. So we're away attending a wedding and staying in a nice hotel the weekend before the procedure. When we arrived, the hotel highlighted that we're on single beds. She gets all uppity and tries getting them to put us in a double bed, whilst I just shrug my shoulders, swears blind she booked a double, right? It's not the first time this kind of thing has happened, though. 2 out of the 3 times we've been away has had this type of bedroom malfunction. We managed to get a double bed in the ski resort, but obviously wasn't getting any because as she would be too tired. Apart from a single occasion one morning when the moons aligned and she didn't resist the 5-minute tick box exercise before I had to get ready for breakfast. We spent our last 5 days in the most idyllic Thai resort last summer. I ended up sharing a double bed with my son as my daughter refused to share the double bed they had accidentally been booked in with him. Great. This most recent bedroom malfunction actually didn't bother me at all. I was awoken early in the morning, though, not for any intimacy requests, but because I was snoring. She shared her germs with me, but that's all. I discreetly get up at this point and go for a run to retrieve the car. As I exit the bathroom, while I'm in there, she accidentally blares out one of her Instagram reels, the kind that she insists on showing me, even though I have repeatedly stated I have no interest in. And leaving the hotel bedroom, she states that I didn't need to be quiet. She's awake, which annoyed me further. Why not let me sleep in if you're already awake? Anyway, after the wedding, this coil she has within should have been removed, but complications meant it wasn't. So now another month has passed, only to reveal that the appointment is just a scam, or just a scan to confirm that it's there. Another appointment will be required to get it removed. Maybe. When that is, I have no idea. All the while, intimacy is absent. I'm really struggling to stay focused on her, if I'm honest with myself. I called her my best friend in the birthday card recently, which she is. I don't think she realizes the cryptic message if you read between the lines, though. What I'd really like is a best lover. This doesn't feel very likely at the moment. We talked about a vasectomy for me, but it seems a bit pointless. I suppose it would prevent me from getting someone else pregnant. I've insisted she at least consider HRT, as the doctors have explained that her cervix has shrunk significantly, a sign of menopause onset. We'll see what happens next, though. I'm almost at the point of not caring anymore. I'm not one for forcing myself upon her against her will. So this is currently a period of abstinence. Irony is, she's given up crisps for Lent. I usually go along with it. Not this year, though. We've gone over 40 days and nights without intimacy on 2 separate occasions already this year, and it's only March. That's certainly not my choice. I'll be damned if I'm giving up anything else in addition because of her. I'm supposed to be monogamous, not celibate. Not sure what will happen next. If she remains desire-free, then we'll coexist, be roommates, I guess. I've spent the best part of 15 years trying to fix the issues that she's only recently been truthful about the existence of. I'm out of ideas after this. I'll end up in a low libido for you situation towards her, I think, which could mean many things. Rant over. You know what's interesting about that sort of thing? There's a lot of things in here that he says, right? But there's a couple of things that really stand out to me. One, he thinks of her as his best friend, right? How common is that? How often do I say she's not your best friend? Stop having the mental image in your mind that she's your best friend, because if you treat her like a best friend, you're going to end up in the friend zone in your own relationship. How often do I say that? People hate when I say that too, because they really do. They really want in their heart of hearts their best friend, right? I want to marry my best friend. Another thing that he says here too, which was fascinating, was it was in the same sentence or the same paragraph of wanting a best friend. He wants her to read between the lines. What does that sound like to you guys that tune into the channel all the time? That sounds like what women do. That's how women communicate. They want men to read between the lines, right? If you're acting that way, if you're expecting someone else to read between the lines, you're acting like a woman, okay? You need to be more direct, all right? Anyway, so that fascinated me, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a whole show on this sort of thing. So, guys, if you are new to the channel, though, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about that is that it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, going back to this Reddit post, so many men find themselves in a marriage where intimacy dies slowly. And often the excuse is always medical or timing or stress. But what if the real reason is much simpler than that? What if it's just she's no longer attracted to you, bro? You sleep in separate beds on vacation. She blasts reels in your face when you're clearly disconnected. And when you finally try to talk about it, you're met with deflections or delays. Does that sound familiar to any of you guys out there? Because today we're going deep into what this guy is going through and how understanding male sexual strategy, frame, and dread might be his only way forward. So stick around, because if you're in the same boat, you're going to learn how you can turn things around. But before we get into that, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you guys are watching on TikTok, smash that screen a million times and then head on over to my YouTube channel, would you? It's a much better experience over here. I can actually bring your comments up on the screen. Guys, speaking of comments, if you're watching live right now, sound off in the live chat. Drop a 1 if you're watching right now. There should be at least 20 people in there dropping the number 1. And also, there should be at least 20 likes on this video. And then, guys, if you are getting value out of this stuff, you want to support the show, do consider sending a super chat. That would be awesome. All right. Let's talk about how we got here, right? The beta spiral. How this guy get to this point in his marriage? Well, I talk about it a lot. If you guys didn't know, I do have a free ebook for you. If you go to list.comeonmanpod.com, you can get that. It's called She's Made You Weak. It talks about why attraction tends to erode in a relationship. It's the betatization process, right? Rich Cooper says betatization through 1,000 concessions. It's the same thing. It's what we're talking about here. Over time, guys don't even realize it, but it's a 5-step process that women put us through. And if we don't know what's happening, we'll allow this to happen, where she basically will test us, will fail. She'll start losing respect for us. She'll start emasculating us. And then she wonders why she doesn't want to have sex with us anymore. Like, she doesn't even know she's doing it, right? Women aren't evil for doing this. This is part of their evolutionary psychology. It's not like they're trying to do this on purpose. They just do this. And if you don't know how to handle it, you will allow this to happen. She's going to lose respect for you. She's going to start emasculating you. Then she's going to wonder, did I settle with this guy? And then she's going to either cheat on you or divorce you or dump you or whatever, right? Okay. This is one of the reasons why being her best friend is a red flag for sexual attraction, right? I think it's a terrible idea for guys to have the mental model that she's your best friend. I also think it's a terrible idea that you have the mental model that she's your partner. Okay. And people get so mad when I say this stuff. It's just like, it's hear me out, man. Hear me out. Because the reason why is you're having that kind of mental model, or those kinds of mental models for men, makes you weak in the relationship. It makes you defer to her authority. And then she starts losing respect for you. Right? Oh, no, I'm different. My wife's different. She's totally different. Okay, come talk to me in 10, 15 years, okay? The nice guy trap. Confusing emotional support with sexual polarity. A lot of guys, like, we're told this, right? A lot of the stuff we're told through society, through movies, through, TV, through books, through fairy tale stories when we're growing up, right? You got to be more emotional, more vulnerable with her, right? You got to open up to her more. Brene Brown is super famous for talking about how vulnerability is strength. It's nonsense. Okay. When you go and you confuse emotional support, where you're extra emotionally supportive to her, and then you're also sharing all your feelings with her, it kills polarity. It kills polarity in a relationship, and you can't have physical sexual attraction without that polarity. Okay. And you also lose polarity by being conflict avoidant. A lot of guys are trying to keep the peace, right? They're walking around, they're picking their battles. They're trying to make her happy all the time. Anything to stop any kind of tension in the relationship, right? What you don't understand is that the more you try to squash tension in the relationship, the more you kill attraction. Like, women need that. They need that drama in their life. They need it. They need that conflict for them to feel something, for them to feel that polarity towards you, that draw towards you. And if you go around just trying to make everybody happy and avoid fights and just do whatever she wants to do and whatever makes her happy, all that kind of stuff, you kill that polarity over time. And she ends up feeling nothing, right? Women are very emotionally driven creatures. They have to feel something. Even if it's negative, they have to feel something, right? It's funny. Women often justify their low desire with medical reasons as a cover for low attraction, right? They don't want to hurt your feelings. Women are, bless their hearts, because most men can't handle it, right? They can't handle that kind of level of rejection. We just don't handle it well. So women will come up with anything to try to soften that a little bit. Oh no, honey, I can't have sex tonight. I've got a coil in. Honey, you've had a coil in for 15 years. Yeah. But now there's a complication. So I need to make an appointment to get it out. Okay. So when are you going to do that? Yeah, I've just been really busy lately. So I can't have whatever. It's always an excuse. It's always an excuse. And if those excuses pile up all the time, right? Oh, I can't. Oh, now that you got the coil out, now you got a headache every night. Oh yeah. I don't know if it's because of the surgery or whatever. They'll come up with any kind of excuse to avoid having that physical intimacy with you, trying to let you down easy. But what they're really saying, if you read between the lines, right? This guy was saying, oh, I hope she reads between the lines. If you read between the lines, her actions will never lie to you. She doesn't like you very much anymore, right? Now she might love you still, but she's not in love with you. right? And we can talk about the difference there. The difference is how you're making her feel chemically in her brain. The I love you means that you still provide that oxytocin comfort feeling to her. She basically loves you like a family member, but she's not in love with you because you don't spike her dopamine anymore. You know, she doesn't have that sexual love for you anymore, right? So she's going to come up with every excuse under the sun. I've had 2 clients now where it wasn't a medical reason. It was their wives purposefully put the kids in their bedroom, right? They had their kids sleeping in the same bedroom with them. And the wives are basically using their children as a shield to not have to, have sex. Oh, honey, we can't have sex. We have the kids in the room, right? And these guys, before they worked with me, were trying to do whatever to not have a fight. So they didn't want to put their foot down and say, no, the kids need to stay in their own bedroom, right? Set that boundary. But they didn't do that. And because they didn't have the spine to do that, their wives further lost respect for them, which basically reinforced why they're not attracted to them anymore. Do you see? It ends up being a negative feedback loop. You understand? So I had to teach these guys assertive communication. I had to teach them how to set boundaries effectively. Tools from books like When I Say No, I Feel Guilty, right? That's a huge factor in my coaching program, right? The thing is, a lot of guys, when they find their way to like my podcast or my videos because of the dead bedroom stuff, they're looking at that like that's the core problem. It's not the core problem, though. The dead bedroom is a symptom of the core problem. And the core problem is a loss of attraction. It's a loss of attraction in the relationship. You're not being the attractive guy that she wants to sleep with anymore. And it's interesting too, because when you get advice out there, a lot of the advice out there is very blue pilled, right? It's very much all around the comfort love stuff, all around giving her that oxytocin feeling. It's all, making sure that doing chores around the house, right? Giving her flowers, telling her how pretty she is all the time, like all that kind of stuff gives her the warm and fuzzies, but it doesn't give her the vajingles. You know what I'm talking about? And the thing is that most of the relationship advice you get out there is towards the comfort stuff. It's really how to develop that, that strong emotional connection, but not the sexual chemistry. You understand? But it's that sexual chemistry that keeps that relationship going long term, where everyone's equally happy. Sex is literally the glue that keeps a relationship together. And if you're not having it, there's no real relationship there, right? You're basically glorified roommates. Guys, if you didn't know, I'm on all the good social media platforms. Follow me on social media. Try to follow me on all the different platforms because I periodically get banned. A lot of my content isn't popular in society. Because a lot of what I tell guys goes against everything that you've been told before, right? It's and the other people out there in the space like Andrew Tate, right, have developed a bad name for red pill type content. And so they've given it a bad name. So people, they sort of group us all in with the worst actors in the space and judge us by that, right? That's why the term manosphere was even created. The thing is that our stuff works. Our stuff works because we're not overly concerned with what women say they want or what they think they want. We're overly concerned with what women actually respond to. And that's what we go with. And that's what we teach, right? So long story short, follow me on all the different platforms because I periodically get banned. And then guys, get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the ebook, She's Made You Weak. I'll also mail you some free stickers. And if you don't want stickers, for the love of God, just put don't want stickers in the address field. I get really frustrated when I mail stickers out to guys and they put some fake address in there or they oh, I didn't mean to do that. I forgot to put the apartment number. Like, if I get a return envelope, I'm not sending you another set again. I'm not wasting another stamp on you. Okay. So get it right, or just put don't want stickers. Okay. Guys, all the stuff that we're going to talk about today, you can read about this and how to turn your relationship around. If you get my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, if you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can get that there. And then let me play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to the topic today. And then while I'm playing this commercial, I'll check in on TikTok to see if I've been flagged yet. All right.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. And this book is it.
All right, guys. It doesn't look like I've gotten a flag yet over here on TikTok. So that's good. That's good. All right. Who's in the chat right now? Oh, we got Nurse Chick in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy hump day.
I'm so naughty.
I'm going to come.
Yeah. Friday's going to be hump day, babe. You know that. Erkin's in the house. Good morning, Nurse Chick and others. 5 minutes and stream has not started. Oh, yeah. I was edging the algorithm a little bit this morning. CW's here. He says, it's time, gents. What's good, fellas? And Nurse Chick. Cody Rogers, our newest beer club member. He says, how goes it, gents? Keyline Viking says, hey, bros. And all right, cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about why her attraction died and how yours can come back, right? So we talked about this a little bit before, right? The biology of attraction versus comfort. This is I already mentioned this, right? You can break this down by how a woman's brain chemistry is working, right? You give her that comfort love feeling. She's releasing oxytocin in her body. She feels close to you. She feels supported by you. She wants to curl up and cuddle with you on the couch. That's that comfort love feeling. But when you seduce her, right? When you physically touch her and you walk up behind her and you kiss her on the back of the neck, right? When you walk up behind her real gently and you pull her in close and you wrap your arms around her waist, right? While she's cooking dinner and you whisper something dirty in her ear and then you walk away, right? That kind of stuff creates dopamine, right? That's sexual attraction. That gets her, bits wet, if you know what I mean. I'm trying not to get flagged on TikTok. All right. So you can think about it like that. That's why we in the space, we like to talk about alpha and beta traits, and people freak out about the terms how alpha and beta, and they talk about, oh, you guys should never even use those terms. And there was a wolf study once. It's like, okay, fine. You can say sexually attractive traits and comfort traits. All right. That will make the wolf study people happy. But the sexually attractive traits or the alpha traits that we say, that's what gives her that dopamine. That's what that creates that it's sexual excitement for her. Okay. But the the comfort stuff. It's like when you're sick on the couch and she brings you a bowl of warm soup, you don't want to bang her brains out on the couch, right? You feel that comfort love, like, oh, she's such a sweetheart. She treats me so well. God, I love her so much, right? For guys, that's vasopressin. That's our vasopressin response to our brain. It's very similar, right? Here's the thing, though. Attraction is emotional, primal, and often subconscious. It's not logical at all. Attraction isn't a choice. People are into what they're into. They're not into what they're not into. It's not a choice. Love is a choice, right? Choosing to be with someone no matter what, getting up every day going, yeah, I'm going to stay with this person. That's a choice. That's love, right? But attraction isn't. If you're a guy, 99% of you guys, if your wife has gained 100 pounds and she's, she was a thin little thing and you were like, always rock hard whenever you saw her come out of the shower and stuff like that, and now she's gained 50 to 100 pounds, you're probably not as attracted to her as you used to be. Probably not. if you're honest with yourself, you're like, no, she's still beautiful to me, bro. Don't talk about my wife that way. If you're honest with yourself, she's not as attractive as she used to be. You wish she would lose a little bit of weight, right? That's not, you have no choice in that. You're into what you're into. You're not into heavyweight women. Like, now some guys are, to each their own. Okay. This isn't to bash on those women, right? Well, the same goes for her. Right? You probably let yourself go too, and she's probably not as attracted to you as she once was, because now you got a little bit of a beer belly, right? Maybe she doesn't like your bald head. You can't really help it, but she can't help not being attracted to that, right? Nurse chick loves this, though. She loves the aerodynamics of that. Let me just tell you that right now. But you get what I'm saying? Like, attraction is not a choice, okay? If you've let yourself go, she's not going to want to do it with you, okay? She's not going to want to do it with you. So that's one of the reasons why we tell guys, hey, get back to the gym, right? But most people won't do that. Most people won't go hit the gym until someone dumps them, and now they're forced to do it, And now they're like, oh, she filed for divorce. Well, I guess I'm back out on the dating circuit. Better be attractive again to someone else. Why aren't you worried about that in your current relationship? Why do we let ourselves go and then have revenge bodies afterwards? Let's stop that shit and let's work on it now. Okay. Masculine strength. Why men who lead, don't seek approval, are more attractive. This is women's hypergamous nature at work, right? Women want to be with a guy that they see as better than them in some way. Okay. A lot of guys think it's about money. It's not about money, right? Usually the traits that make her feel this way, she sees you're ambitious. She sees that you're confident, that you're dominant, that you're assertive, you're decisive. Those are traits successful men typically have. She sees it. She's attracted to it because she's hardwired to be attracted to that stuff. And now she's like, I see his potential. I'm going to push him, right? A good woman will push you in a good way. It's actually a part of the betaization process, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So there's a part in the betaization process where they want to put you to work, right? Now, where it ends up being a betaization thing is where she makes you do chores around the house that she can easily do herself. She's just delegating stuff to you because now she's in charge of the relationship. And if you let her get there, she loses respect and attraction for you, right? She doesn't want that. She wants you to tell her no. She wants you to be in charge of the relationship. She doesn't want to make decisions. She wants you to make the decisions and the plans and all that kind of stuff and allow her to relax into her feminine, right? But most guys are like, well, no, let's do what she wants to do. Let's make her happy. Let's, all that kind of stuff. And then they're like, I don't understand why she doesn't want to bang me anymore. You've got to reclaim that masculine strength. You've got to take ownership of your relationship. You've got to set the tone and lead that now. And here's the thing. If you've allowed things to get this far, 15, 20 years into your marriage or relationship, and she's just not attracted to you anymore, and you've been letting her lead this whole time, she's not going to just follow your lead. She doesn't have respect for you anymore. Ryan Stone says it really well in his book on Dread. He says, it's a lot like you're demanding things, and she's looking at you like a toddler. She's going to look at you like, what? You can't just order things around. You haven't ran things in 10, 15 years. Like, I'm not going to listen to you, right? She doesn't have enough respect for you to do that kind of stuff yet. So you got to start in little ways, and you start with yourself. You start with going to the gym and working on yourself and setting goals for yourself and setting priorities for yourself and walking around and making little decisions around the house and build that up. You build that momentum up, right? How physical touch and sexual tension fade when men overinvest emotionally. Yeah, a lot of guys fall into this trap, right? They end up becoming the best friend in the relationship, and best friends like to talk to each other about their feelings and their dreams and all this kind of stuff, but they're not necessarily banging, unless they're a really good friend, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, in general, you're not banging your friends. You know what I mean? That you're talking about stuff, your goals, your aspirations or whatever, and you're just good pals. Well, that's what tends to happen in long-term relationships if you allow it to, because you develop the mental model that she's your best friend. You start treating her like your best friend. You start sharing with her all your problems, all your emotional stuff. She does the same thing to you. You become her emotional tampon. And next thing you know, the sexual tension's gone. It's you've created too much comfort, right? She can't do that. You can't do that kind of stuff. One thing that I tell guys, and people hate me for saying this, is don't overly share your problems with your girl. In fact, her solipsistic nature won't allow her to care about your problems anyway, right? All she cares about when you're bringing her your problems is how it's making her feel. If she starts feeling like anxious or insecure based on your story, she's not going to like your story. Because of how it makes her feel and how she's seeing it. And then she's not going to care about any of that stuff. All she's going to care about how it's making her feel. Right. And then she's going to take all that stuff and go, God, he's a weak baby. And then use that against you. You understand? That's a part of, that's actually step 2 in the betaization process. She gets you to open up more emotionally. And then she turns around and uses it against you and emasculates you with it. And then further, erodes her respect for you, which she can't be attracted to you or love you if she doesn't respect you. Right. So you can't do that kind of stuff. Okay. Just realize that's not her job. She's not your mother. She's not your therapist. She's your lover. Treat her that way. Treat her like a lover. Right. Share your problems for a coach, a therapist, a good group of guys. That's why I created the beer club. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. The cohabitation trap, when roommates replace lovers. This happens a lot when you move your girl in, right? When you move your girl in, it happens even worse when you put a ring on it. But basically, once a woman has this feeling that she's locked you down, right? And that you're not going to, like, if you really want to, you feel like you always have to tell her, like, honey, I'm never going to cheat on you. I'm never going to leave. Like, you're the only woman I have eyes for. If you're constantly trying to reassure her about that, she's going to internalize that and go, I got him. He's never leaving me. He's not looking at other women. I don't have to try anymore. I don't have any competition anymore. And what happens is women stop trying themselves. They stop investing in that relationship. Nurse Chick says it really well. When she's got friends who are doing all the sexual activity stuff before marriage until they get married. And then they're like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm married now. Right. She calls that bobbing for diamonds. Right. use your imagination on that one, because I'm trying not to get flagged on TikTok, right? But these women are bobbing for diamonds. They're doing all this stuff to show investment to get you to pull that ring out and give it to them. And once they have that ring, they're like, I don't have to try anymore. I don't have to try anymore. I don't have any competition anymore. He's not going anywhere. And then they just let themselves go. And then they stop they stop doing any kind of thing to actually invest in that relationship, because they don't have to anymore. They got you locked down. And now you're providing for them, right? You're buying them. You're paying for all the bills. You bought them a house. She has half your 401k. She doesn't have to worry about anything. If you do leave, she's going to take half your shit. The state's going to reward her, right? But she doesn't have to fulfill her obligation. There's nothing the state can do to make her fulfill her obligations, but the state will make sure you fulfill your obligations to her, right? You will continue to pay her child support. You will continue to pay her alimony. You will give her half your retirement. She doesn't have to give you sex, bro. She didn't have to do that. That's her body, her choice. Your money, not your choice. You understand? That's the cohabitation trap, right? So here's the thing, though. A lot of guys, that's the life they want, right? And I'm not here to shit on that. A lot of guys, I can tell them until they're blue in the face, not get married. Hey, man, maybe don't get married. If you haven't got married yet, it's a bad deal for men. Avoid it at all costs, okay? There's a lot of guys who didn't get that message. They're already married, okay? For those guys, what do we do now? Okay, because a divorce is going to cost you a shitload, not just in money, but mental anguish, opportunity costs. There's a lot of things with just dump her, bro, isn't a good, effective strategy now, right? So what do we do? Well, we got to turn that dynamic around, okay? But you got to understand, this is why you are where you are. You got complacent. See, if you have to be this guy, if you have to be a guy that gets married, maybe you're a religious guy, this is very important to you, this is a part of your value system, you want to get married, that's fine, okay? You can make it work. You just can't allow yourself to get complacent, right? Once you have her in your house, you have that cohabitation thing, most guys stop trying, they stop dating her, they stop being seductive, they think that she's just needs to owe you sex now. It doesn't work that way. You still have to be the attractive guy that that inspires her to want to have that sex with you. You understand? So rebuilding that attraction, it starts with your frame. It starts with reclaiming your mental frame, right? Rollo Tomasi's iron rule number 1 is that frame is everything. A lot of people don't really understand what frame is. Overly simplified, it's basically your worldview, how you see the world, right? Ryan Stone, in his book on dread, which I highly recommend you guys read, he describes it as 3 pillars, right? Your emotional pillar, your intellectual pillar, your physical pillar, and those come together to form your vision. And that's why I say it's like your worldview, how you see the world, right? That's your vision. But if those other legs of the tripod are weak, your vision's, you're not going to hit your vision. You're not going to reach those goals. You're not going to see things a certain way. If you're emotionally not weak, your girlfriend's going to be able to knock you off center. She's going to test you. You're going to fail, and that attraction is going to erode, right? So you have to build up all of these things. That's where Ryan's book is really good. Ryan also talks about the scoreboard in his book on dread. He talks about the scoreboard, which is an interesting concept. I really want you guys to read Ryan's book. It's called Praxeology Volume. Read all of Ryan's books, for one. He's got 17 of them, that son of a bitch, but at least read Praxeology Volume 1, Frame, and Praxeology Volume 2, Dread. He also has Praxeology Volume 3, Field Reports, which is kind of like a bathroom reader, but the first 2 are the ones that will really help you out when it comes to relationships, right? He talks about the scoreboard in dread, and scoreboard, basically the way he has you look at it is when you're in a situation where you're in like a dead bedroom or your relationship's going down the toilet or whatever. It's almost like think of it like you're playing basketball, right? And she's putting scores on the board right now. You can't get a score in at all. So when you start working on this stuff, you need to start putting some scores on the board, is the way he talks about this. You need to start putting some scores on the board. Eventually, you're going to be dunking on her so much with all the stuff that you're doing that you realize that keeping score is stupid anyway, and you throw the scoreboard out, right? That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be, where you eventually go, you know what? Keeping score is fucking stupid, and then you throw it out, right? Anyway, but rebuilding that attraction starts with your mental frame, right? You taking ownership of the situation and you doing something about it. What I talk about that's slightly different than what Ryan talks about in Dread. If you get my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, TikTok. If you get that book, what I talk about is I focus on the betatization process and getting back to the beginning of the betatization process, because that's where attraction starts to erode. So if you get yourself back there, you basically reverse the cycle, right? And so a part of that handling her tests comes with strengthening your mental frame. Realizing that what she says to you, what she does to you, it's funny or amusing, and you don't take her so seriously. Once you start acting that way, she's like, oh, wait a second. I don't understand what's going on here. He used to get mad when I said stuff like that. Like, I like this. That's how you start turning that stuff around. All right, guys, get in Beer Club. I mentioned Beer Club, right? Saving your problems for the boys. That's what Beer Club's for. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com. Get in there. It's only $10 a month. It's a good group of dudes. There's over 50 guys in there. They're all in there swapping notes, trying to level up in various areas. Some guys are working on their marriages. Some guys are in the dating process right now. Some guys are just getting over a divorce. Whatever situation you're in right now, there's guys in there that have been through it or are going through it, and you don't have to do it alone. Okay. It's only $10 a month. Check that out. Beer.comeonmanpod.com. And then, guys, do get my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, right? And then as you're going through it, maybe even consider grabbing the workbook. If you go to Amazon, do a search for Paul Bauer. You'll find the accompanying workbook for that. Do that kind of stuff on your own. All right. Start going through the process, start putting the reps in, start doing the work. If you need more help, if you're not seeing results, book a call with me. Okay. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com, because there's a lot of nuance with people's relationships. It's really hard to encapsulate everybody's experience in a book. You know what I mean? Like there's 4 billion dudes out there, and trying to really nail down what's going on in your exact situation, pretty hard to do that in a book. This is it'll fix 99% of your guys' marriages and stuff if you put the work in. But for some of you guys, you're going to be like, I don't know how to apply this to my situation. My situation seems different. That's when you're going to want some one-on-one help. Do that by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com and book a free call with me. Okay. If I can help you, I'll show you what that looks like. If I can't, I'll at least point you in the right direction. I don't work with everybody. Not everyone is going to turn their marriage around. In fact, most guys won't. Most guys actually won't even pick up the book, right? Most guys won't even pick up the book. The guys who are really going to see results are the guys that put in the fucking effort, right? They do it on a daily basis. They don't make up excuses. They don't come back to me every week going, I didn't have time to do that, right? Like, you make fucking time to do it, all right? The workbook I created will take you 10 minutes a day, right? 10 minutes of your day to work on your marriage. That's all you need, okay? Just make the time. All right. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up, guys. Let's talk about reclaiming frame from roommate to desired man. So we talked about the scoreboard model a little bit, right? And a part of that whole scoreboard about putting the points on the board, and then eventually, like, you're dunking on her and then you're throwing the scoreboard out. That's all about going from invisible to respected to desired. Okay. You're basically an afterthought right now in the relationship. She walks all over you. She has no respect for you. Now you're starting to do some things that she's taking notice of, And then you eventually get to a place where she could see what a catch you really are. And she's going to start worrying about, oh, fuck, other people are like really like my husband. Other women are laughing at his jokes. I actually have a pretty good guy here. And then they start putting effort in. Okay. You got to stop trying to fix her, right? You've got to fix you. And this is when everybody comes to me, they all come to me going, how do I make my wife change? She's the one that needs to change. I'm perfect. I'm fucking perfect. Look at me over here. I'm basically Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. I'm Gaston over here. And this she has low libido, right? No, that low libido is an excuse because she doesn't think you're Gaston, okay? She thinks you're the short fat guy that hangs around with Gaston. All right. Don't worry about what she's doing, what she's not doing. You can't fix her. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself. Okay. So you worry about you. Fix you. Work on your own sexual market value. Work on your fitness. Work on your style. Work on your confidence. You work on all that kind of stuff. She's going to come around. Okay. But you can't focus on that. You got to let go of that attachment to outcome. And the thing is that the guys that are focusing on, I'm doing all this to make her do this, that's what we call a covert contract. You're still acting like a nice guy, which is unattractive behavior. Because when she doesn't act that way, now you're going to resent her for it, which is more unattractive behavior. You see how that compounds? So instead of doing that, stop worrying about what she's doing. Just worry about yourself, increasing your own sexual market value, your fitness, your style, your confidence, your assertiveness, your leadership communications. Work on that kind of stuff. And you'll find that when you let go of what she's doing, she's going to notice this stuff and she's going to start coming around. Okay. But that's only going to work if you stop focusing on her. It's the hardest thing for guys to do. The importance of having a vision, right? One of the things that I talk about in Get Her to Fuck You Again is having a vision for yourself and for the relationship, right? What kind of man do you want to be? What kind of man are you going to be going forward? You got to have this idea in your mind of the kind of guy you really want to be. You want to ideally, you want to be a guy that develops a dominant masculine presence, not just in your relationship, but in all areas of your life. I've had a couple of clients now that when they were done with the program, they got raises in work, they got promotions because they took what I was teaching them and they applied it in their work life too. That's why I say at the beginning of the show, I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about that is it makes us better in all areas of our lives, right? It does, because those skills carry over into business and everything else. Okay. But you got to have a vision. What kind of man do you want to be? Right. Thor's new book that I just finished the audio for. Glenn Lawrence and Thor uploaded that to Audible on Sunday. So it should be here in the next 2 weeks. It should be available. The Superhero Inside really talks about creating that identity for yourself. Right. Now, I'm not getting paid for Thor's book, but I highly encourage you guys get that book because it supports Thor and his wife, Missy, and they need the help. Right. Thor's going through brain cancer and stuff like that. But so I'm happy to promote the book, but it's also a fucking good book. Right. Not only did I help Thor, I helped Thor sort of get it ready for publishing on KDP, formatting it and all that kind of stuff, editing it. But I also read it. I had to read it again for the audio. And it's just like, man, it will get you pumped up, dude. It will get you pumped up and you will develop this identity of a superhero inside. You guys are going to love that book. Let's talk about real dread versus covert contracts, right? Real dread. What I prefer to recommend guys do when it comes to dread, and when we talk about dread, right? Dread game. The idea behind it, when it was first sort of implemented, and I don't know if it was Royce who came up with it. Royce did have an article on dread. It was fucking toxic as hell. I don't recommend that. What he's talking about is what we would refer to as active dread, right? That active dread where Christopher Canwell talks about it too in Atomic Attraction. That active dread is where you're intentionally doing stuff to plant the idea in your girl's head that you're cheating on her, right? Or that you possibly are, but it's vague, right? So you do stuff like you come home and you have a little bit of women's perfume on you. And then when she asks you about it, you either blow her off or you say, "Oh, I was at the mall today sampling colognes." Right? But it's clearly women's perfume. Or you go out on a business trip and you post a picture on social media of a beer and like a margarita next to each other, right? It's it could be nothing, but she's gonna look at it like, is he out with a woman right now? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is active dread game. It's the idea is to induce competition anxiety in her. The thing is that ends up being a covert contract, right? It ends up being a covert contract because you're trying to do this in order to get her to feel a certain way. What Ryan mostly talks about in Dread, and what the kind of stuff that I talk about in Get Her to Fuck You Again is more of passive dread game, right? Where you're not actively trying to make her think that you're cheating on her, but you are working on your sexual market value so much, and you're developing social circles again, and you're going out and you're hanging out with friends groups again. You're talking to strangers when you go to the supermarket, that kind of stuff. When you go out and you're just a social butterfly of a person, and people are laughing at your jokes, especially the hot girl at the hot barista at Starbucks, and your wife sees you interacting with everybody, everyone loving you. That's giving you that social proof. Women are laughing at your jokes and stuff like that. That's passive dread because she can see how other people like you or are probably flirting with you a little bit. Women really notice when other women flirt with their men, more so than you notice another woman's flirting with you. Right? Your wife's going to look at that and go, she was flirting with you, right? And what do a lot of guys do? They go, "Oh, she was? Oh, I didn't even notice, honey. What are you talking about?" Or I would never talk to a girl like that, right? But instead, you go, "Oh, she was flirting with me? Well, of course. Why wouldn't she?" Right? You have this sort of arrogant attitude like, "Well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm a catch," right? When you do that, that actually boosts attraction, right? She's like, "Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I have competition," right? But you're not doing this stuff to get her to act that way. She's just going to act that way, right? That's why it's passive, okay? That's why it's different. It's not a covert contract. You're doing it for you, and she just happens to notice that you're being more attractive, right? You want to create space and lead with indifference, okay? You want to be not so available all the time. You want to not help her with all the chores all the time. You want to have things going on outside of the relationship, outside your house, right? Thursday night, bowling night with the boys, whatever it is, you need to create that space because space creates scarcity in a relationship, right? Attraction grows in space and it dies in close proximity. So if you are always around her, right, you go to work, and then you come home and you hang out with her, and then that's it. That's your only social interaction is your coworkers and then her. You never spend time, hanging out with any of your friends at work. It's always around her. She ends up being your sole source of socialization, and she'll feel suffocated eventually, right? So you want to create that space. You want her to wonder about you. You want her to wonder what is he up to right now? Why is he always out on Thursday nights? Like, is he hanging around with the right guys? All that kind of stuff. If she starts bitching and complaining that, hey, you always get to go hang out with your friends and stuff like that, encourage her to go hang out with her female friends. That's going to help your relationship. If you guys are both allow yourself time apart and have your own friends groups, I would just recommend, like, for both of you, don't be hanging around with, here we got the puzzle piece. There we go. There you go, TikTok. I'm really here. I'm really here. I don't recommend, you can do it if you want, right? But I don't recommend your wife hang around with her single 304 friends. I don't recommend you necessarily hang around with your single pickup artist friends. Okay. That's probably not a healthy thing to do for your relationship, but you do you. Okay. But if you guys are hanging around with, like if you're hanging around with other married guys and she's hanging around with other married women, like that's healthy for the relationship. That's actually a good thing. Okay. Encourage that. Let's see here. Masculine emotional control, calm, assertive, non-reactive. This is a part of your mental frame, right? But this is also how you're going to handle shit tests. This is how you're going to deal with arguments and communication. Whoever is the most calm person is going to win. Whoever is the most calm person is going to win. The problem with most guys when they hear that, hey, communication is the key to a healthy relationship, is what they end up doing is they end up yelling at their girl. And then when she's not listening to you, because all she hears is your tone, she's not even listening to the words coming out of your voice, you increase your volume thinking that she's going to hear you better if you yell at her, right? That's not communication. Neither of you guys are even listening to each other. You're both just waiting for the other person to stop talking. Because you're trying to think of what you're going to say next, you're not even listening to the other person, right? But if you learn how to handle that better, I teach Paul Benjamin's Luca model. If you do the Luca model, you can actually stay very calm, and just let her get off her chest, whatever she's dealing with. You're her emotional rock, right? You're her rock. She's chaos, right? Feminine nature is chaos. She's going to bring you the chaos. You need to be the calm, right? And so if you can do that, she's going to feel more safe and secure in the relationship. She's going to listen to your leadership, more. If you do have a recommendation for her, which don't automatically share that, right? Ask her if she wants your advice or she wants you to listen, unless it's an action for you to take, right? But the most calm person is going to win, right? If she's throwing shit tests at you and you're not getting all up in your feels about it and you're able to handle it with either humor or indifference, she's going to respect you more, right? But if she can rattle you, if she can get you upset, if she can get you in your emotions, she loses respect for you, okay? So you have to have that masculine emotional control. Give her something to lose. Purpose, leadership, and mission. A lot of guys aren't they stop working on their purpose. They stop being purpose driven. So one of the things I encourage guys to do is find your purpose again. Find something that makes you want to get up in the morning and do. It could be, your purpose could be just getting in shape for now, right? Going to the gym and being the most fit person in your age group on your block or whatever. Like that's your mission now, right? But you got to have some kind of purpose, some kind of mission, some kind of value where she's going to be like, God, this guy is I see all these other schlubs around the neighborhood. They're not doing shit. And this guy is like Superman. Like, I don't want to lose this guy, right? He's my best possible option. If you want to use hypergamy to your advantage, she's got to see you as her best possible option again, right? Let go of outcomes. We talked about that a little bit, right? And then what the roadmap looks like. If you're at the place where our guy at the beginning is at, right? A lot of guys at this point either resolve to just be miserable or, or they wait around and they wait for her to drop the divorce papers, right? Or they listen to the MGTOW guys online who say, just dump her, bro. And then they go out and file for divorce. Either way, they give up very easily. Okay. I recommend you don't do that. I recommend you at least put in the work now. Give yourself the opportunity to turn things around. She's your best sparring partner. She's seen all your bullshit. If you can run game on her, you can run game on anybody. She's the perfect training partner right now. Okay. The plus side is that you might actually end up saving your marriage and you actually might have a wonderful experience going forward. Okay. That would be a total win. If she does not come on board, now you have some hard thinking to do, but now you're ready. You're ready for the sexual market. A lot of guys don't do any of this work on themselves, and then they find themselves on the sexual market, and then they flounder around for years sometimes trying to get themselves back. And it's like, you could have been doing this whole time, and you might have even saved your marriage, right? So that's what I recommend. Work on yourself. Get to a place where you're like, everyone, like, you go out, you're very social. People are laughing at your dumb jokes. You know that if you wanted to, you could get a different woman, right? Get to that place where you're like, oh, I could easily get that chick. I could easily get that. That chick's like always like into me and all that kind of stuff, right? You want to get to that place and then evaluate. Is she getting on board or isn't she? You know? And then if she's not, maybe now you need to take the offensive. And maybe now you need to work with your attorney and get strategic about it before she has a chance to do it, right? But I don't recommend doing that right away. Don't out the gate be like, that's my default, right? Because if that's your default, why did you even get married in the first place? You know? Dumping that bitch is way easier when you don't get married, bro. All right. But you got married. You're here now. What are you going to do about it? Let's try to fix things. Let's try to make this work. Okay. All right. Something to think about. You're not here to win her back. You're here to become the man who doesn't beg for affection. Become the man who commands it, or walk away. Okay. But you got to be the guy that when you walk away, she's gonna regret it, right? Don't just walk away and then have her have a sigh of relief that, oh, thank God he did it, right? That's the difference. All right, guys. Tune into the podcast on Friday. We're going to sprinkle some woo-woo on Frame Friday. It's been a while, and I think that's always fun. I'm going to talk about how understanding Hermetic philosophy and the Hermetic laws of the universe are a great framework for strengthening your mental frame in life and in relationships. And, oh, look, Nurse Chick sent me some money. I have octopus to the face level attraction. Nurse Chick does. Thank God bless her. I'm going to give her this one.
I'm so naughty.
Because that's what she gets. Hun, you don't have to send me super chats. Hun, I'll take payments in other ways. You know what I'm talking about. Babe, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, Urkin says, what is MGTOW? Men going their own way. It's usually the guys I see that I'm talking about, when I say MGTOW are like the black pill doomer guys who have given up on women completely. And they're always in the comments trying to delude themselves as to why they're happy single. And it's like, well, if you were truly happy, you wouldn't be in the comments trying to convince yourself that you are. But whatever. That's what MGTOW is. Guys, smashing like is alpha. Okay? Smash that like button. All right, that's all we got, guys. Do be sure to, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. Thanks for everyone that sounded off in the comments. I appreciate you. Thanks to Nurse Chick for the super chat. Thank you very much, hon. And follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get the email lists. Get on the email list and then get the ebook, She's Made You Weak. Get all my books. I have 3 books out. Go to books.comeonmanpod.com. They're available on Amazon and Audible. If you prefer audiobook, I prefer audiobooks. So I narrated Psychology Paradigm and Get Her to Fuck You Again. And then I did part of the narration for Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. And then Thor narrated the rest of it. But I found out with Psychology Paradigm how easy it is to actually record your own audiobooks. I mean, it does take work. The editing sucks, but how to master it for audio is actually pretty easy, and I've gotten pretty good at that. And so I actually like reading my own books now. Get in Beer Club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of guys. And then after you've read the book and you need some one-on-one help, book a free call with me. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all we got. We will see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.